What's going on, YouTube? Just working on the Jeep here a little bit more, and I got to read a bunch of the comments and was getting comments from Moses H, and I believe it's been him that's been asking this over and over again, but he's been asking me to do a video on the top 5 first mods for the Dodge Charger. So I haven't really been doing much with the Charger here lately just because winter is happening. It is all-wheel drive. I can drive in the snow, but when I got a spare car, I might as well keep the race car in good working order and clean. So here we go. I will do the top 5 first mods for a Dodge Charger. Not in any particular order. Not saying these are the mods that you should be doing, but just for me, this is what I suggest for your top 5 first mods. Now, the first mod I would suggest for the Dodge Charger, or any car, in fact, any race car or anything that you're trying to mod, is going to be your exhaust. Whether it's a full catback exhaust from Borla, SLP Loudmouth, or if you're just cutting resonators off or cutting the stock mufflers off and throwing on some Flowmaster 40s, I would recommend that as one of the first mods that you should do. Not necessarily big in the way of power gains, but when your car has that deeper rumble, you feel it inside. You feel better about your car when you have an exhaust. You know, it's not about being loud and obnoxious, but when you push on that gas and you feel the car going and you hear that rumble coming from the engine, that puts this mod on the list. So definitely exhaust. The next mod I'd suggest for the Dodge Charger is a Taser from Z Auto Tech. The Taser is not going to like unlock power or anything like that, but if you have a non-SRT, this is definitely going to unlock SRT menus, which gives you different little options, just a fun screen to monitor temperatures and horsepower and all that other sort of stuff. This is also useful if you're going to add paddle shifters if you don't have them, backup camera if you don't have it. So if you're going to add those things, you need a Z Auto Tech Taser to turn on those features in the computer, and you know, just all around kind of a fun little tool to have. Definitely worth it, especially if you have the 8.4 Uconnect screen. That's where you're going to get your performance pages. Otherwise, if you don't have the 8.4 Uconnect screen, you can still get your EVIC menus, so your performance pages, 0 to 60 time, 1/8 mile time, 1/4 mile time. So Taser by Z Auto Tech. So this runs about $250. The next mod is going to be kind of controversial. Not quite as controversial as a pedal commander, but it's actually going to be an oil catch can. Mine happens to be from Billet Technologies. You don't have to spend the $200, whatever they charge for Billet Technologies here. It's been a while since I've had that in there. But basically, from the pressure control valve from the crankcase, it goes out, goes in here. There's like a steel wool type material that's in there that's going to basically collect the oil from the air that's purged out before it lets the clean air go back, go back into your intake manifold, basically catching the oil from the factory. It just comes out from here and then goes in here, and the oil burns off, but then you end up just gunking up the engine and everything like that. The reason why manufacturers don't put an oil catch can on their cars is because it's an extra level of maintenance that you have to do for cars, and consumers, the regular consumers, don't want a ton of maintenance. They want something that's maintenance free. So number 3, an oil catch can, just to protect the engine from, you know, just a bunch of gunk getting burned up in there. It's a very simple mod, not too expensive, easy to install, and it's just going to help with the longevity of the engine. A lot of you guys are going to disagree with me about that, but it works for me. I end up catching a lot of oil in it, so it does its job. Next mod is going to be the 75-cent mod. It's a little bit more than 75 cents now. I think it's like $1.50 or something like that, but it was originally called the 75-cent mod. Basically, it's this little trim that you can put in the doors. I got mine in the front, got mine in the rear doors, and then I have mine going around the dash bezel. So, I got mine from yourautotrim.com years and years ago. I don't know if they're still in business, but that's where I got mine. Plenty of colors, all right? There's plenty of colors to match the color of your car. Very simple to do. Basically, inside here, you can kind of see that there's tabs. I trimmed it on the end here so I can actually fold it around the corner, but that tab just pushes into the seams and it stays. It doesn't really come out. So 75-cent mod, definitely worth it. My personal opinion is it gets a little excessive. I know that there's a lot of people that have gone and put it down through around here, like all the way up around all these parts. They've put it up in the trim on the B pillar. They've put it up on the A pillar. Guys, sometimes less is more, but it is your ride. Do what you like and what you feel looks best. Some people will actually say the 75-cent mod looks cheesy and cheap. My ride, my choice. But for mod number 4, 75-cent mod. Now for the last one, the 5th one. Struggled with this one for a little bit, but ended up deciding on a brake upgrade. Now, are these like track brakes, like a big brake kit from Bear or Willwood or anything like that? No, no. I just wasn't happy with the factory rotors and pads. They had a lot of brake dust. Mine started squealing on me really early on, so that was what the big driving factor was to change my brakes. I went up with a Power Stop Z26 Street Warriors. So rotors, all 4 corners, and the Power Stop brakes. I would say I wouldn't go with the cross-drilled, just because it weakens the rotor. But for me, you know, other than just some drag strip times, I'm not really bashing on this too much, so it's not that big of a deal. But yes, drilled rotors are a little weaker. They can crack on you. But changing out the brakes here, I did a full video. If you guys check the channel, I do have a full video on this where I did a before and after, stock versus Power Stops. And the Power Stops did perform a lot better for your day-to-day driving activities. In addition of doing the rotors and pads, while I did it, I went ahead and painted my calipers, and then I just got Mopar vinyls and then stuck them on the calipers. Got them front and rear, and it's kind of a nice little touch. The brakes are more responsive. They stop the car a lot better. These are like 4,600 pound cars. The all-wheel drive is, at least. So the brake upgrade was definitely a nice improvement. Okay, honorable mention. People are gonna be like, Dave, what about an intake? What about an intake? Honestly, guys, unless you're doing like the Hellcat Airbox mod or something like that, your factory intake is going to be good enough. It's going to do everything that you want it to do. If you do like the Mopar intake or the K&N intake that has the metal piping that comes in here, the metal piping heat soaks. So all you're doing is making your car draw in warm air. People call them a cold air intake. They're actually a warm air intake because the intake just ends up sitting right here and it's sucking in all the warm air from the engine compartment. Even if it seals up against the hood, your factory one's going to be better because that one actually ducts, has ducting. Can't really see it, but there's an opening right here that actually pulls the air from down in the fender. Your stock air box is going to be good enough. Now, if you were to ask me really which intake I would recommend to you guys, I recommend any intake that has a blower attached to it. Turbo, supercharger, positive displacement, centrifugal, doesn't really matter. If you're going to do an intake, use an intake that has a blower on it. But there you have it, guys. There is my list of the first 5 mods you should do to your Dodge Charger, okay? Not saying that they are the best mods, not saying that you need to follow this list strictly. It's just, in my opinion, those are the ones that I really felt were the best bang for the buck. You know, it's just a general list of mods. If you want to get into performance, we can definitely talk about performance mods because I got a ton of them in here. But as for a general, you just got the car and the first 5 things you want to start with, check out the ones that I suggest here. Anyways, thanks for tuning into the channel, checking out the Charger. We are building up the 2016 JKUR. We got the metal cloak lift kit, fuel wheels. I'm doing some work in the back here while I'm doing all this filming stuff. But check out the channel. We got definitely some good stuff going on here. And you know, we'll have a 2019 Jeep JLUR on the channel as well, next door neighbor. So we're going to jump over there and check his out here eventually. But like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Take care, guys. Appreciate you.